compromised again. Last night's terrorist attack in San Antonio was now the latest in this series of bombings that began 11 weeks ago in 10 different cities.
Now, let's pause right here. You're listening to first a radio show, Michael Savage. What you just heard is from a fictional television show called 24, which had its season premiere last night, and it's about the Islamo-fascist presence amongst us. Once again, they got it exactly right, and it was so captivating, although it was somewhat cartoonish. Jack Bauer, as the almost Superman-like hero biting the terrorist in the neck with his teeth, was a little over the top for me, but all right. Kiefer Sutherland saves the world again. Fine. Good drama. But there was so much truth in it that it was very disturbing, particularly the counterpoint between the Muslim youth, Ahmed, and the American teenager who was shown exactly the way American teenagers are, idiots with long hair who say, "But you're my friend. How could you do this to me?" And Ahmed says to him as he puts a gun to his chest, "You're not my friend. You can't even pronounce my name. It's not Ahmed. It's Ahmed." And the stupid American boy, prior to that, tried to give him a good luck thing to hang around his neck. It's unbelievable how true it really is, because I got children all over Marin County who look like that long-haired, dope-smoking sap. So we can talk about that. There's also a great tension in the FBI going into the Islamic advocacy group trying to get personnel records as they're trying to track down a terrorist. And there is a lawyer played by a black lady who, of course, stands up to the FBI and says, "No, you're violating privacy." And she erases all of the personnel records. It's unbelievable to me what goes on, but this is all tied in to the obsession with civil rights, the obsession with privacy, the obsession with individuality. In a time like this, we can't afford this obsession. That was all well and good before the virus appeared on the planet, before the Islamo-fascist virus metastasized around the planet. That was all a great conversation. But you liberal idiots don't even know what world you're living in, I think. At least that's what I think. And we are also talking about from king to bling in one generation, or the I have a scheme situation from the King family. Again, we're being marched through the history of the civil rights movement. And I have nothing against the civil rights movement. But the fact of the matter is he was just a man. He was not God himself. And you have to remember that Washington's birthday, Lincoln's birthday, were eliminated in the United States of America. Their names expunged from our national memory. And yet they were some of the real founders and builders of this nation. And yet we have Martin Luther King Jr. being given not only a holiday, but we must repeat his name. After all, if this were fair, it would be called Civil Rights Day. If it was something for all races to celebrate, it would be called Civil Rights Day. It wouldn't be called Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So why do we celebrate this man's name when Washington's name has been eliminated, Lincoln's name has been eliminated? And I challenge you to name one other national holiday named for a contemporary American or one of our founding fathers. Christopher Columbus was from Genoa, Italy, and he worked for the Queen Isabella of Spain. So let's go to those topics here on the Savage Nation at 1-800-449-8255. Also, Google Earth. I was the first in the media to point out the dangers a year ago. Google Earth is a real threat to everyone listening to this program. It is already being used by terrorists to target our troops in Iraq. It should be closed down immediately. This is satellite imagery provided by the U.S. government, I believe. The government had no right to sell it to these gel-haired morons at Google, or give it to them, for all I know, for nothing. How do you think they became billionaires? Because they're so smart? So I watched 24 last night, and frankly, I've been very agitated and depressed since I watched it, because if you watch it, is it art imitates life, or is it life imitating art? Artists very often can predict with a higher degree of certitude than can politicians. And I'm afraid that this show 24 is very predictive of what's coming in this country. Because we have been weakened by the notions of extreme liberalism, we have become ripe for a takeover by the Islamo-fascist virus amongst us. And you're going to hear some of the sound bites from the program. It was quite gripping last night, and I know what's coming tonight. We all do. It's been leaked by Drudge, and there's going to be a nuclear set-off tonight. One of the cities goes from one of our wonderful Islamo-fascist buds amongst us who is being protected by Marvin at the ACLU and all of the good folks at NYU Law who are oh so concerned about the civil rights. Civil rights, civil rights, civil rights, civil rights, civil rights. Well, let me remind you, without survival, there are no civil rights. There's no society at all. It was so pretty predictive last night, and so actually, maybe it was frightening because my dog peed all over the house. I got so mad at Teddy after this show. Because he was in there with us for a while in the living room watching it. Then he would, like, slip out for a while. And this morning I wake up, it smells like a kennel. Top of the house, bottom of the house. It must have been the show. Now, I don't know whether that means it's good art, whatever, but it was bad for the dog. And, man, I'm paying for it today. You know, it's wintertime out here with the cold wave. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the next time you speak to Al Gore, tell him to talk to God to turn the thermometer up. Tell him to turn the thermostat up. I know there's global warming, but it hasn't hit here yet in California. We got global cooling. So the next time you see that fraudulent, sweating bum, Al Gore, going around lecturing about something that doesn't exist, tell him the next time he speaks to God, tell God to turn up the thermostat, because we could use a little heat out here in San Francisco. Global warming, you shill idiots. You morons, you buy everything lock, stock, and barrel. Global warming. You don't hear much about global warming now, do you? Oh, you heard it last week in the idiots in New York. Oh, a warm winter. Oh, it shows there's global warming. I told you we were getting a cold front from Alaska came through here last week, and you were going to get it this week. But what, Al Gore didn't send you the notepad so you couldn't figure it out for yourself? So there it is. So then there's one scene in the 24 where two of the characters argue over the use of detention facilities to lock up Muslims. Listen to clip 35.
Our country is under siege. Now, you're the National Security Advisor, Karen. Frankly, I'm surprised by your resistance.
These places that you keep building, they're nothing more than concentration camps.
Detention facilities. And the criteria for determining who shall be detained are very reasonable.
Reasonable. This revised plan of yours justifies locking up every American who prays towards Mecca.
That's a ridiculous exaggeration. You know it.
Right now, the American Muslim community is our greatest asset. They have provided law enforcement with hundreds of tips, and not a single member of that community has been implicated in these attacks.
So far, Mr. President, the people are losing faith in our ability to protect them.
See what I mean? I mean, this is shockingly, I may as well tell you, it felt like a documentary. This is how the average thinking American sees the country and sees the government. Unable to defend us, unable to protect us, unwilling to see reality. Instead, we have not a nanny state, but a granny state emerging. It's bad enough we went from the skull and bone state, but now we're going to a granny state, one after the other. One after the other, we get whiplashed here by one group after another, none of whom seem to be able or willing to defend us from the virus called Islamofascism. So then later on, the FBI agents go to, after another terrorist attack in L.A., in this show 24, FBI agents go to an Islamic advocacy agency, and they ask for the organization's personnel records. But the staff lawyer, Sandra Palmer, says no. Listen to clip 40.
We are an advocacy group. These people are all volunteers. They're very good people.
I'm sure they are, sir. All we're doing is assembling a working database of names to cross-check against our watch list.
Excuse me, Sandra, the FBI is here.
FBI?
They're asking for access to our personnel records.
We take pride in being good citizens, and we will cooperate with you in order to stop these attacks.
May I see your warrant, gentlemen? I'm Mr. Al-Razani's attorney. I also represent this organization.
We know who you are, ma'am. And I'm afraid we don't have a warrant.
Then I'm afraid we can't turn over our personnel records. That information is private, and that privacy is protected by law.
I understand, ma'am, but in light of what's happening around the country, we don't think it's unreasonable to ask for the cooperation of our citizens.
You're looking in the wrong place. There are no terrorists here. So unless you have a warrant, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
So well done, because here's this self-righteous lawyer who probably was admitted to one of our so-called prestigious law schools under special programs for special people, comes out all cocky about civil rights and holier than thou, chip on her shoulder, angry at everybody, and she knows she lives in a racist society, and she's going to put that ahead of everything, including her own common sense. I'll be right back.
Research is now